Yes, you can tell us where you're from and what are your expectations from this webinar.
Hello. Hello.
Hello, we can hear you.
I'm from Mary. Currently, I'm a student. What I expect is that I'm, uh, I'm starting a startup, so I want to hear from the already started people so that we can have the foundation. Thank you.
So Steve is expecting to maybe learn more about how he can progress in his startup and what BIP is in general and how it can help him. Let's hear from Peterson as we give people a few more minutes until 6:35 so that we can begin.
Hello everyone, my name is Pratham Karaoke. I'm joining you from Nairobi. I am a software engineer by trade, slash founder. I recently I'm starting a startup, and yeah, that is me in a nutshell. Thank you.
Nice, nice. We can give this to. Of course, you'll tell us at the end of the session if you've met your expectations of it. We can hear from Violet. Hi, Violet. Are you with us? Okay, we can wait, and for in the meantime, we can maybe hear from Stephanie. Hi, Stephanie.
Hi. For me, I would. Okay, I'm from KU, and I would love to hear more about how to actually believe in what you're putting across the world, because sometimes you have a bit of a self doubt, but I would love to hear about that.
Okay, nice, nice. Let's hear from Alfred. Hi, Alfred.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, basically, I'd just like to know what are some of the challenges you guys have faced in the whole deployment of the whole thing. Basically, how are you able to navigate them? And even as you have already launched, what are some issues that you faced that you hadn't even thought about at the start?
Okay, nice. Let's hear from Marilyn and then we can officially begin. Marilyn, how are you doing?
I'm fine, thank you.
What are your expectations from this webinar?
My expectation is to learn more on you executed your idea and how you brought it to the market and how you can evade competition, even though competition are there, but how can you evade them, or how can they make you better? Yes.
Okay, nice. So today, my name is Lynn Koech. I'm sorry, I should have started with that. My name is Lynn Koech. I am a co-founder in Kashlink, and I am also I'm acting in the capacity as the chief operating officer and the chief financial officer. And for today, I'll also be the facilitator for this webinar. And so I hope you have your notebooks ready, you have questions ready for us. Yeah, so today we'll be talking to, or rather, Cashlink will be talking to us. Who is Cashlink or what does Cashlink do? With that, you can have that in mind in question. I'd like to introduce for you guys the speakers for today. So, first of all, we have Robert Carlos Pachola. He's our CEO and he's also a co founder of Kashlink. And he'll be taking us through what Kashlink is and just let him speak in the capacity as the CEO and even give insights. We also have Francis Mwangi here with us in the call. He's one of the co-founders and the chief technical officer. Also with us, we'll be having Elijah Bundiokeri, or rather famously known as Enzo. He is also the chief marketing officer and a co-founder of Kashlink. And so with that, let me welcome Robert Carlos so that he can officially begin. Yes, Robert, I hand it over to you.
Thanks so much, Lynn, for the nice introduction. Hi, guys. I love the energy. My name is Robert Carlos. I'm a co-founder at Kashlink. I am also the CEO at Kashlink, and I also deal with the marketing bit of it. Yeah, so it will be right for me to say I'm also a content creator. Yeah, the things startups make us do. Anyway, we'll dive into that later on. So, just a little bit about Kashlink before we move into how. I'm not sure if I'm supposed to just go into the whole thing, Lynn, first, or we are just doing the introduction.
Whatever works for you, you could do the introduction and then maybe what Kashlink is and how maybe we met and
Okay.
yeah, just the whole process of it, how we met, how DIP enabled us to meet each other. Yes.
Okay. Thank you for that clarification. Um, for me, Kashlink is my last born child. I normally refer to it as my last born child, my last born girl. This is something that came up uh, while we were in the previous design thinking bootcamp at KU that was previously held from September last year. It was an 8-week bootcamp just purely on design thinking and some bits of other lessons that we were taught just to help us improve our startup or help us scale our startup. Cashlink itself now as an entity is a payment platform that protects the buyer's money. It is purely made for people who have trust issues within when trying to buy things online. So it protects the buyer's money and only releases it to the seller once once the buyer confirms delivery of the product. Because I know most of us have been scammed before, or we've had someone who's been scammed before, and most of these scams happen uh, while you're trying to buy things online. Because when you're trying to buy something online, you don't know who you're buying it from, or if you're selling it, you don't know who is trying to buy your product. So it's very hard for you to identify whether that person is a scammer or whether that person is a genuine buyer or a genuine seller. So we built this just for that. We had a series of sessions that helped us map out this, that helped us understand this particular problem, got to validate it later on, and realized that it is actually something that people are facing because the core thing of design thinking or the key thing about design thinking is building or coming up with solutions for problems that are actually being faced by people, not problems that you think are being faced by people. So even as we speak here today, we're speaking about something that we really thought about, something that we really engaged the people about, the people who we're building for. And we realized that, and we came up to a conclusion that this is something that, or it's a problem that's being faced by a lot of Kenyans out there, and it needs to be solved, and that's why we built Cashlink. So we are your best friends. We don't want you guys to lose your money anymore. very frustrating anyway. For those of us who've lost money trying to buy something online, you can attest to that. So it was a nice evening. It was a nice evening, 5 p.m. I was very late for that session. Got to sit at the back, and Shalom was there trying to divide people into groups so that they can start, so that they can continue with whatever they did the previous week. So that means from that you can note that I missed the first week. But then somehow I got myself grouped by these amazing people, Lynn, Enzo, and Francis. We got to sit down for that second week. I think it was that we were trying to now do the definition of the problem, because for the design thinking, when you're trying to do design thinking, I think you understand, or I may just mention that for design thinking, when you're trying to do design thinking, or when you're trying to use design thinking to solve a problem, you must first start by empathizing with your user. That is, you understand the people you're trying to build, understand how they feel, understand the pain points, and come up with as many points on how these people feel, what they do, how they think about something, and they're just so and so forth, so that you get to understand more about the people you're trying to build. Then you also have to get to define the next problem. The next thing was you got to understand how to define the problem. That is, now we had to rephrase the problem into how might we help people, or how might we reduce the rate of scamming online while trying to buy products online. So that was more of our line. Then we also got to now a point. That was the next week. Now this is the time. Now I started knowing Enzo, started knowing Lean. I started talking now to Francis, because now it's not my first time meeting them, and we got now to that phase where we are now ideating. The ideation phase does not mean that we just came up with Kashlink that day. It means that we came up with a lot of ideas and finally got to settle with Kashlink after a lot of iterations, after a lot of considerations, after a lot of brainstorming, sketching. We did a lot of sketching on this manila paper. We did a lot of sketching on the board. It was a very nice experience for us, and I think that's where we started to bond, because this is something that we were doing for fun, and it started to make sense to us now that, guys, we are actually coming, or we are actually leading to something great here. So after ideating, now this was now, I think we are now 4 weeks in later on. We now decided to, or we now got to the phase where we have to prototype. Prototyping again doesn't mean that you have one prototype and sit. That means you have multiple prototypes, but just maybe a maximum of 4, so that you get to narrow down to the best 2 and see which one works best for you. So we did that, and finally we got to the testing bit of it, tested it internally so that it's something that's workable, drafted a nice pitch, had a pitch session with Kina Shalom there. It was a very um, it was a very new experience for us, because remember, these are 4 guys who've never seen each other anywhere. Okay, we might have seen each other somewhere, but these are 4 guys who've never talked together. They were just brought together by one cause. They were just brought together by the need to solve a particular problem, and now they have to pitch together now. So we had lots of sessions within the particular bootcamp that helped us prepare for this pitch. We had a lot of sessions now that now helped us identify our idea now as a startup rather than just an idea, because I think that's a problem which a lot of students face, or a lot of early stage founders face. They still don't come to terms with the fact that they are now actually building a company, or they're now actually building a business. So that is something that DIP helped us understand. It helped us understand that we are now building something that could be the next 5 years of our lives right now, could be the next 3 to 5 years of our routine. But they did it in a way that was, what can I say? I think it was a very nice way to do it. I don't have the word to explain it, and yeah, I think those are design thinking journey for that particular boot camp, and I really thank everyone who took part in it, and I think it has now the roots to whatever we are doing right now. So I may be open to questions later on. I just wanted to have like the overall overview of what we were doing and how we got to start working on this as Kashlink. Yeah. Thank you, Lynn. I think Lynn, you can take over from there.
Okay, thank you, Carlos, for that introduction to Kashlink and how we started, and maybe even giving a rough idea of where we are right now. So, right now, I'll be taking you guys through Design Innovation Program, Design Thinking Innovation Program, DIP. I'd say, you know, that point in your life you're like, wait, I think I've been doing everything wrong. You've been trying to solve an issue. It doesn't even have to be in an aspect of business wise or trying to solve the next big thing. It could even be in your studies, because I can see most of us here are actually students. You could probably be facing an issue of you trying to read every single time, but then you don't sit down and actually define where the problem is from the grassroots itself. And trust me, you won't go further unless you come up with you ideate on it and you define exactly what the problem is exactly. So I'll be taking you guys through design innovation program. It's actually because on the poster we wrote, have you ever wondered what happens after a boot camp? I'm sure you've been seeing boot camps everywhere, and you're asking yourself, yes, I may join this boot camp, or maybe you've joined a boot camp already, but then you don't know exactly where you're going to proceed from after that. So DIP, it's an 8-week program that has different cohorts in different schools. Majorly, I've seen them in USIU. We did the first cohort in Kenyatta University. There is also going to be, I believe, a cohort in Jomo Kenyatta JQuat. Yes. You can sign up actually. This is actually a very good and very great opportunity for everyone. I think from the moment I learned about design thinking, I think I just every single time I'm like, everybody should know how design thinking can change your life. And so I think at the end of the session or while we're still here at the group chat, I'll be putting in a link where you can sign up to the next DIP that's going to be design innovation program that's going to be near you. I'll also be taking you guys through design thinking in a nutshell. In a nutshell, as Carlos has said, you first empathize with the user. How do we do this? It's by thinking, you see a problem, you maybe let's say like littering. How is littering you look at the pain points that everybody faces when there's littering, for example, and you try and empathize with every person in that single situation. And then from there, you get to define the problem itself. You're like, littering in, now that I'm a KU student, I can say littering in Kenyatta University makes the environment not pleasing or makes the place looks dirty and unhealthy to even walk in. And then from there is when you can ideate from the definition and the mapping that you've done. You just can't start creating solutions. That's why we have a lot of businesses and a lot of solutions that fail. It's because people don't empathize with the solution. Remember, the solution is not for you, it's for the people who are actually experiencing it and are actually first paying the cost for it. And then from ideation, you get to prototype. And remember, an idea will always be an idea unless you work it out. So you prototype with it. And then after you've created your prototype, is when you go out and test it. Give it to your next friend. Tell them, can you use this and tell me, give me feedback on it. feedback is feedback, even if it's good, even if it's bad. You're told maybe your idea isn't that great, maybe try and look at it from this perspective. It is still it's still good feedback. And then from there, after you've tested it out in the pilot programs and even for your friends giving you feedback, is when you can implement it fully. And so from that, I'll give Francis to talk on how Kashlink moved from an idea to now a fully fledged on business per se. Welcome, Francis.
Hi guys. I hope you can hear me.
Yes, yes, you can.
Okay. My name is Francis Mwangi. The CTO at Kashlink. I do the tech work. In short, yeah. I met our co-founders at DIP, and we were complete strangers. So when we started working on the idea out to our business, we wanted first to identify our strengths, like where you have like a strength. Is it technical? Is it marketing? Is it something else? So after we were able to identify these strengths, that's when now we could be able to say, okay, you can focus on this section of the build. You can focus on this section of the build. But what we came to find is that even though we had segregated these roles and all, we still needed to harmonize, like, and also like work together in order to be to be able to come up with a feasible plan. So something that I have a technical background, so something that I found a bit challenging was having to brainstorm ideas in such a way that you're not building the actual product. You're just brainstorming on how you solve the problem. So what our prototypes looked like when we started and what the actual product is now are very different, because we had a diagram on a paper. We were saying, okay, this is how it will work. Then after a person buys, we had the initial prototype was a pay bill, just a number. Then you are supposed to have sub accounts for the pay bills. That's not how it works right now. We have created a whole web platform behind it, and yeah. So part of creating the product or creating the business is understanding the end user and how they may want to interact with the product. In that is knowing where like our users are at. So is it so we have like a very specific demographic that we are targeting, people who are using social commerce. So this is selling on TikTok shop, or rather lives, who have created groups on WhatsApp and are using them to sell. We also have Facebook groups. We have a lot of on social commerce. So this is where like our main demographic of sellers will be coming from. To identify the people who are going to interact with the app, that's the sellers. We want to see how can we make it as simple as possible for these users to work with our product. That's when now we boil it down to our web platform, where you just create a link. So you don't have to go through the whole process of having a catalog and all that. You can just have a link, share it with your customer pays. Yeah.
Okay, Francis, thank you. Thank you for that. I think you've now everybody has just gotten a gist of what exactly how Cashlink started. Remember, it's not this process is not a linear process. It's never a linear process. You iterate, you change, you change. Today it's this, tomorrow it's a different thing. And it's okay because as we all say, progress is not a linear thing, and for us to reach an end goal, maybe from where we were and to where we are right now, we've definitely had to iterate. And so right now, I want to invite Bundi Enzo, yes, to tell us how winning the DIP KU cohort changed changed our I don't want to say, changed our lives, changed the life of Kashlink from just being an idea, and then now we are now a venture. Actually, right now we are full we are 6 month old baby. So maybe Enzo, you can tell us that from winning until right now, how has winning the DIP cohort changed the life of Kashlink?
Hello, good evening, everyone. I'm Bundi Operi Enzo, and I'm the sales and customer acquisition manager for Kashlink. I think for me, from the start, when I was signing up for the program, I saw the email at my corporate email school. Then I was like, oh, nice, let me sign for this, because by that time I was more into startups and innovation since I was learning a startup. So I signed up, and then one day I saw an email that you qualified for the bootcamp. So we started the training. I remember the first day we were being told that just see someone you can you relate, you think like you share the same interest, the same topic, the same field. And then I remember I went to Francis and I was like, I heard that you are a dev. I'm also into dev, and then you into fintech. I'm also into fintech. Then we started looking for our fellow team members. Then I went to Lynn, Carlos came to us. That time at work, we never knew anyone. We were strangers completely. Then we formed a team. Then we started working week in, week out. We come there and then we do something. We draft a draft. We draw the drawings. We try to give ideas on what we can do, until one day we settled with Kashlink. We said we want to do something on Kashlink. Then we started working on Kashlink. We worked on it every week, each week, showing up, not giving up, showing up on time. And we were like, guys, let's do this. Then on the day for presentation, the final day, I was feeling something inside me that this was the nice idea. As much as I was never into other teams, I know they have. I was believing so much in Kashlink on our project since I was like, from the training we have got from the design thinking program, that our idea is just perfect for us and for the program. Yeah, and we won the bootcamp. It was nice. From there, we chilled. And then one day we received an email from one of the big guys, Nicholas Kyoko, telling us that we're taking you somewhere else now. They want to assist our project to move forward. Yeah, we started the we progressed till now. Kashlink is somewhere. At least people know Kashlink. Kashlink, the idea was validated by the judges. They saw the vision in the idea, so they gave us the chance, they gave us the courage and the morale to move forward with Kashlink. And since that day, I personally have never regretted doing Kashlink. I'm always showing up for Kashlink at any time, no matter what. I'm like, yeah, this thing is working for us and we need to push it. Yeah. So at the moment we're moving, and as of now, the progress for Kashlink has been great, massive. Actually, in the market, we're massive. And DIP is helping us a lot. They always following up, checking if we're okay, if we're running smoothly, if everything is okay. Whenever we need support, they always available for us to contact them so that they can support us. And I can say they have been boosting us and giving us the hope that keep going, you guys, keep going. They trust in us, they believe in us. So we're moving nicely. And at the market, we have validated our validated our problem that it exists, the problem exists, and we have the solution. So people are just like, yes, they happy for us, they joyous for us, they receiving us, like we receiving feedbacks, working day and night, pushing it to the next limit to achieve our goals at the support of DIP. So I personally, I think meeting DIP, I think changed my life and my life in startups. It changed my life completely. Like at least now I'm doing something with a purpose, with clarity, with direction and motion. Yeah, that is what I can say for now. Yeah, thank you.
Nice. Thank you, Enzo, for that. So I think from here, just everybody needs to. I'll share the link for signing up and just join Design Innovation Program. And so from here, I'd like to just now I've seen some of the questions from the chat, and maybe just a brief thing is maybe we can start with answering them, right? We can start with, let me scroll to the first one. Where do you see yourself as Kashlink in 3 to 5 years? This is from Albert. Thank you, Albert, for the question. In 3 to 5 years, we are expecting. Sorry? Oh, it's okay, no worries. Where do we see ourselves as Kashlink in 3 to 5 years? Personally, I see Kashlink as the next big payment service payment service provider in Kenya and revolutionizing the social e-commerce platform digital landscape where we you can't operate without Cashlink. So Cashlink will definitely be a necessity in the digital space. Yes. And the next question is, what kind of marketing is Cashlink using apart from social media, that is? Which is the sense that Cashlink wants more users, considering that vendors nowadays have started to embrace pay after delivery options. With that, I think I'll let Carlos answer that.
Hi guys, once again. I think I'd also like to add on just something on where we see Cashlink 3 to 5 years to come. And I think 3 to 5 years to come is, let me just say it's 2.5 years or 4.5 years to come, because we've already done, or we're already done with our 6 months. So 3 to 5 years to come, I see Cashlink as the trust button. See Cashlink as a key player in the social commerce, because we are positioning ourselves, or we are marketing ourselves as the trust engine for Kenya social commerce, and we want it not only to be an option, but to be the protocol for all transactions that are going to happen within social commerce platforms. Yeah, that's where we see Cashlink. And maybe later on, if we start venturing into other, we start diversifying our operations, then we will do that later on. But for now, like the key thing that we are working on is Cashlink, and we want to be viewed as 3 to 5 years to come is as the trust button in every social commerce platform, in every e-commerce platform, and true. Yeah. So let me just mention about the marketing bit. So apart from the social media marketing, although it has been very pivotal in our marketing, but we also have the need to directly speak to our clients. So we are working with our clients one-on-one, and we decided to focus on businesses first. Like we have really capitalized on B2B marketing because of the distribution aspect of it. So we are more focusing on how we are going to distribute the product rather than marketing it singly to one customer compared to marketing it to a business. Because for every business, we have customers that are working hand in hand with the business. So we focused more on the distribution bit of it rather than just the single, like just the direct customer. What is it called? The direct customer. I can't quite get the term, but this is something that we also learned from Carlson when he was talking about the balancing the customer acquisition cost and making sure that we have reduced the customer acquisition cost as possible so that we can get more value and also we can get more lifetime customers rather than just spending or burning trying to get people who are not going to get they're not going to get the value, but they're not going to bring in the value that you are going to get once you start working with that specific segment of your customers. So customer segmentation has been a really key thing for us, and we've decided to work with businesses so that we can have the distribution as swift as possible. Yeah. So that's how we're going to tap into the market. I think I've answered that. But if not, you can just clarify in the chat box too.
Nice, thank you. Another question is, have we considered having a legal wing? Yes, we have. We are in talks with a lawyer, and yes, the government definitely plays a key part in a startup. And I remember, was it Steve? He said, as a startup, what is one thing? How I think one thing I can also tell you is the legal issues in Kenya will tie. I don't want to say will tie you down, but get somebody who knows how to navigate it. Get a lawyer. Please do not try to do it on your own. Get a lawyer. Get a lawyer. Yes. Yes, with us, how are we working to protect ourselves from such issues? We are in talks. We are in talks with a lawyer. We have a lawyer, and yes, if there's any issue, we bring them up to it, especially in terms of compliance with also KRA, in terms of laws that are affecting fintechs. We all need to be at par with them and not find ourselves doing anything illegal. Yes. Next question is, how big is our customer base at the moment and how many users are currently running Kashlink? I'll give that to Francis to answer.
Hello. Yeah. So in terms of the customer base, we've been doing it with the model of piloting. So currently we have over 100 users registered, but we're only piloting with 5 sellers so that we can see how it scales and also how make improvements on the product. Then after we are satisfied that we're able to handle large transactions and our system holds up, that's when now we can open it now to the public for the rest of the users. But yeah, we have over 100 people registered, but currently only piloting with 5.
Okay, another question that we got at the Google Forms is, what are some of the issues that you faced in deployment of the application, and what are the most affordable means to do it? Yes, as considering this is how people want to know after bootcamp, considering they're already thinking everybody here probably has maybe like an application that was from a developer who's asking the question. So Francis, still feel free to answer that question.
Okay, so it usually depends. If it's just an MVP, there are a lot of free resources that you can take advantage of. If it's web-based, I would suggest to use something like GitHub Pages, Netlify, Vercel, Supabase for the database. All these options have free tiers. And then like when you start scaling, you can get on the pro plans, which now offer you more flexibility when it comes to even doing versioning of your product. Yeah, I don't know if I've gotten the whole question.
I think you've just answered the last bit of it, where is what are some of the resources which you can do, but maybe you can just also give them insights on what are some of the issues that we faced as Kashlink when we were trying to deploy Kashlink on the web. Yeah.
Oh yeah. So one thing about maybe I can tackle this with another question I've seen on the chat. It's about PSPs. Yeah. So we are not a PSP. Yeah, we provide buyer protection as an escrow business, and we do that under a license of a licensed PSP, like a licensed service provider. The same way that you can have a lawyer who does escrow, you can be sub-regulated through their license. So yeah, that was a challenge because in this business you have to register the business. So when we wanted to operate quickly, went to register our business name, then we found that you can't register a business with the name Cash as a business name. You have to do a whole corporate, or rather a whole liability company for it. So it can't be just a business name. You can't operate like that. Then in terms of regulations, there are also a lot of regulations when it comes to holding people's money. So that's something that you have to consider if you want to get in this line of business. Data protection is another key thing. So we've been able to navigate this through legal counsel, and also you do the research, you find out what, because a lot of these things have been legislated as we talk. Something like things to do with AI have been regulated as early as Monday. There were laws being passed as early as Monday that are affecting us. So yeah, you have to be in touch with the browsing, the Googles, the AI. You have to consult them, see what the country allows you to do, and if it limits you, what are the steps that you can take to overcome these barriers. But yeah, it's been a learning journey. We've been able to successfully navigate a lot of policy issues. But yeah, I won't go into the boring. I want to get into them, but yeah.
Okay, yeah, thank you for that. I see there's a question. Okay, somebody has raised their hand. Maybe MJ, you have a question?
Yes, simple one. I wanted to know how you guys are making money. Is it through you have a transaction cost, or how are you guys making money?
So our revenue model is we have a transaction cost fee per every successful transaction. We can cap it from 1% to 2.5%. And also another thing, we can also kind of embedding our API as a white label APIs in different e-commerce platforms. That's also where we get our money from. Yes. Another question. I don't know. MJ, is that satisfactory? Okay. There's a question where on the regulations and compliance, etc., what moves has Kashlink taken in securing these licenses as a young growing startup? I won't say we are a PSP startup yet, but maybe we might dive into that. On the issues of regulations, is we are incorporated. We are not just free. We're not less freelancing out here. We are an incorporated company. We have the licenses. Yes. So yeah, we just like Francis has said, we are in talks with lawyers, we get legal advice, and you Google, you're like, okay, today you want to go to BRS, you want to register your name, unapata, you get your name, you can't use that name. You go somewhere, you get it's just a lot of corners and corners. You think you've solved an issue, but there's another one that's waiting for you there. So that's why I am key on highlighting that you need a lawyer to navigate the startup at the ideation phase. You can definitely be free, more free and more open, because even us as we started as Kashlink, we didn't know the word cash can't be, you can register it but not in a certain form. Yeah, so definitely have a lawyer. Have you thought about incorporating commission-based system as a way of earning? I'll give that to Carlos to answer.
Um, Hi guys, once again. That was a bit unexpected. You read the question as if you're going to answer it. Anyway, so we've not yet started doing, or we've not yet incorporated the commission-based system as part of our revenue model. First of all, we just wanted to, our main aim at first was to validate the idea, of which we did, and we're still doing it constantly because this is something that has to be constantly done over the period of time. And I think for now we can just still work with the flat fees and the transaction cost because it's a bit easier to explain at the moment. Maybe later on when you're a bit bigger, that's when you can introduce such things so that we don't complicate uh, the onboarding process or just don't complicate everything for the customer because we want treat to be as simple as possible as for now. And yeah, I think that's all I can comment on that.
Okay. Yes. So there's also another question. I think I'll answer one that we had when we were starting the meeting before I go back to the chat is how do we how can you believe in what you want to put out there? I think I'll give this to Enzo to answer in just a nutshell. In how do you in rephrasing it is how do you believe in yourself? So Enzo, answer. You can answer this question.
Hello. Hello. Kindly, pardon the question. Pardon, please.
As a startup, when you're trying to put things out there, how do you believe that this is how do you believe in yourself and for you to put your things out there? What are some of the things that make you believe in it? Yeah.
I think one of the key things you consider when you're putting a startup outside, I'm alive. It's like you just have to make sure that the idea is validated. The idea must be validated, and you just believe that as much as you're solving a problem which exists in the society, like that is some of the issues, some of the skills you gain from design thinking, whereby you understand the societal problems from their perspective, not from your perspective. So once you're solving a problem that you know exists in the society from other people's perspective, but not from your point, you just feel like you're moving in the right direction. You feel the confidence because you're solving someone else's problem, not yours. And by knowing that the idea is solving a problem is just you see the feedback from the users. If everyone is into it, you just know that the idea is validated. So just keep on building. So it is you to deliver from the startup because you know this is exactly what the users want. This is exactly what the community wants. So you feel like, yeah, this thing is real. It is validated. It has validation. So your work is just to build better, and scale up the idea. Polish it, make it perfect. Because, you know, you're solving not your problem, but other people's problem. So by that way, you have the confidence because, you know, the idea is working, the execution is working. So yours is just to build.
Yes, I think I'll just leave it about what you've just said. It's once you validated that this is something that's going to solve an issue, a real issue and not a fictitious issue, that's how you know you believe in it and you don't guys, don't ever be scared to put anything out there as long as you know you're solving a real problem. Don't be scared. Be in fact have the audacity to put it out there. If not, put it the way it is. Yeah.
Yes.
One
To
of the
add on,
questions.
sorry, to add on that one, also, you see, when you putting an idea outside there, positive feedback and negative feedback both, they will help you to build. So you just have to leverage the feedback. Actually, I believe a startup, you should take care of take care of the negative feedback more than the positive, because from the negative, that is how you better the idea and you scale up your MVP. The most
Yes, that yeah.
consider be keen on the negative feedbacks. Hizo ndo zinasaidia nini sana, they help the startup a lot, they help you a lot to perfection your idea. Yes.
I'll leave it at that. I think you've just said it so perfectly. Somebody has asked what is our ARR and burn rate. We've just said we are 6 months into it, and revenue, we don't have revenue yet. But when you come, maybe next month, maybe when we do another webinar, we'll have positive apologies, we'll have positive uh, revenue. Right now, for now, our burn rate is actually high. Considering we're a bootstrapped startup, so far I think we are at roughly around 70K. Yeah, we are at 70K thereabout. Yeah. So another question is, does Kashlink have an IP? If yes, can you take me through on the ways a startup registers for their own IP? Okay.
Maybe I can take this one.
Yes.
This is to Jacob. The type of IP we have is trade secrets. So when it comes to trade secrets, you don't have to register them. You just sign NDAs internally to protect the IP. Now, for other startups, and this is something that a resource that I was made aware of recently, it's called Kira. Is it kira.co.ke? Kira. Yeah, it's called kira.co.ke. So you can go to kira.co.ke. Then when you sign in, you can be able to, it's a guided process. It's a Kenyan-based company founded by a lawyer to help people with IP registration. So when you're on the platform, you can it's like a guided wizard. So it will ask you what sector you're in, what industry, then it will suggest the type of classes you fall into, or categories. I don't know I think it's classes. Then from the classes, you can narrow down what type of IP you'd need. So from things like, what do you call this? Trademarks. You can do like a name trademark. You can do copyrights. For now, because they came to do a presentation with us a while back, they're offering it for free. What you pay for is when you want for them to handle, like going to Kipi, coming back to Kipi, like all those back and forths. But for now, the service of registering maybe like a name trademark, it's free. Like you get the document, and now you'll have the option to take it yourself to Kipi. Yeah. And also they offer after hours like consultancy for you, so they can be able to guide you on what type of IP you'd need. But yeah, so Kipi is a good one. Chandari Innovation Hub in Kenyatta University is another good place that you can get guidance on IP registration, because depending on what you're working on, it can be different. It's hardware, it needs to draw diagrams and have them patented. So yeah. And also DIP can link you with guys. Yeah, so I think those are good resources for you.
Yeah, so still based on that, Francis, there's a question on how do we manage different versions of the app? Okay, let me just know we don't have an app, and how do you make sure that it is secure and security certified? And what certifications have you been certified for the security measures to protect users on the app? by Carlson Kamau. You can see it in the charts. You
Okay,
could
that was
kindly
well.
answer that.
So, okay, in terms of security, I'll start with the versioning. So the current version that we have live, how can I put this? So like how we operate, we have integrations with that party providers. So our security is layered between us and a third party provider. So most of the transactions are secured by the third party provider, which they have licenses from the CBK, and these licenses cover things like fraud detection. They have a lot of licenses when it comes to money laundering. I don't remember the name of the license, but yeah. Now on our side, we are partnering up with another startup called Kevad. Kevad offers fingerprinting for fintechs. So they'll be able to, once you integrate with them, that is, they'll be able to help you secure your platform from SIM swaps, people are using VPNs, trying to connect with you maliciously. So that's what we are doing now. Right now, actually, we are about to finalize the integration with Kevad. Another thing we do is we have a lot of redundancies in our databases, so that you can't have a person messing with a record which has like 7 copies. So if one copy is compromised, you always have backups for that. That's like best practice when it comes to developing things in financial technology and also health related startups. Something else I can say on security is always use industry standard software. Like in as much as you want to use your own server, you've made for yourself, and maybe you have added a firewall, it's good to have this industrial grade people serving you. When you proxy your traffic through platform like Cloudflare, it's better than having it on host Pinnacle or like another Kenyan host without that layer of firewall. So we're able to block bots, DDoS attacks, and all that. I won't go into the technicality because I'm sure not everyone here is technically versed in the security
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah.
Okay, so another question is, okay, guys, just to bring it up, you can also ask questions on VIP, how it was. Yes, won't the customers feel like you're becoming the mgema when you finally introduce commission-based system later on, as opposed from the beginning? An idea commission-based system can start a deals worth a certain number of money, let's say 500K and above. I think, Robert, you've answered that, or do you want to clarify it? And before you start, I can just answer a quick question: is, do you position Kashlink purely as an escrow service for direct clients, or do you also integrate with businesses or companies and digital platforms as a trusted transaction layer? Yes, we do. Yeah, your question. Yes, we do. We are not purely just for escrow for direct clients. We also integrate with businesses and other companies. Which third party is it? Uh-huh. I think I'll leave that to Francis. I don't know, should I answer it, or let's first give Carlos to answer what Albert has just asked on issues on commission. And then we can wrap it up by every member, or not really every member, from Carlos, Francis, and Enzo giving us what are some of the lessons they've learned in this journey. What are some of the key challenges that you think are really worth mentioning and that you think you'd want another startup to look at and be like, pause and look at it? And what is practical advice for aspiring entrepreneurs? Carlos, you can start with the question on
Yeah, thank you. I think I'll just provide everything. so that we can move a bit faster. I'll just answer the question and also do the conclusion bit of it, and then you can also do your bit. Yeah, it's true. If we start doing everything at this moment, it's gonna be either a lot on our heads, or it's going to be, we are trying to focus on one. As I said, like we are a startup, and we are trying to have our value clearly defined, our value clearly put out there. So if we start focusing on a lot of things at the moment, we are either going to do half of everything, or we are going to not do anything. So yeah, as Albert has said there, it might be a challenge starting off with the commission based. So I totally agree with him. Yeah, and I think that's for that question. Also, I also saw a question about the B2B. Yeah, as I mentioned, we are really struggling, not struggling, we're really trying to do that so that at least we have the distribution aspect sorted. Yeah. Lynn, what was I supposed to say again? Is it okay? The lessons learned. Lessons learned from
You're
VIP. Let me
No,
start
no,
with
not
VIP.
really. Okay, yes, lessons learned. Okay, let me just repeat it. Lessons you learned
Mhm.
from DIP and also from the time we've, let's say, launched Kashlink. Now that we are a business, what are some of the lessons, and what are the key advice that you'd give to young entrepreneurs?
First of all, the lessons that I learned from DIP is number one, as I started off saying, you have to understand, like you cannot build something that the users cannot use. You really have to understand the needs of the user before building that product, or even as you're building that product, you really have to talk to the users as you're building it. Don't build that product in your room. Don't build that product in that office thinking that people are going to buy it or people are going to pay for it without actually talking to the people who are going to use that particular product. It's a solution you're building for people, and you have to understand what they are facing. And this is something that I can note that most startups are coming up. Most people are looking forward to get funded for the startups they're building. But then if you just look at it in a logical perspective, or if you look at it in the design thinking perspective, you could actually build something that can fund itself. I'm not going to dwell on that so much, but you can actually build something that people want to pay for. Build a solution that people want to pay for. That's something I learned from DIP. And the only way to do this is by understanding the people you're building for. Yeah. So that was one of the main key takeaways, because that was a mindset shifter for me as a builder. The advice I'd give to people building out there, young entrepreneurs, because I'm one of them, I really understand the challenges that you're facing through. Number one, the system is always against us. The system is always against startups. So that means that when you start building as a startup in an African setup, you're already starting on the negative direction or in the negative side. So you have to be very resilient in this journey. You have to be very delusional at some point. You have to make a lot of sacrifices, because I believe most of us here who are building things, I even Lynn can attest. We were talking with her yesterday, and she said that there was a time she felt like she doesn't have a life right now because she has been working on the startup too much. So these are things that are going to get you when you're not prepared, or if you're prepared, if you're well prepared, then you're going to be on the safe side. Also, the startup space is a very dynamic space. It's a very unpredictable space. Anything can happen, so you have to be braced for anything at all times, and embrace the power of community. Embrace the power of community and teamwork, because that's what is making our operations a bit easier, because we are a team. I've talked to a lot of solo founders, because I also do this innovation consulting at on the side. Solo building is a lot. So try and get yourself a great team. We call them the mastermind group. and make the world a better place, or build that thing that makes impact and makes money. Have a great night. I think that will be my parting shot.
Thank you, thank you. I'll hand over to Francis for any final from the questions I've asked. Any the lessons you've learned, and what's some advice you can give to young entrepreneurs?
Okay. I think I'll just echo what Carlos has said. There's a benefit to building in public. It gives you like a perspective of what is needed in the market. So when you build in a silo by yourself and not considering what your potential users want, it will leave you with a product it's working, but it doesn't have a market to use it. So yes, like before I was involved in building other startups, and we didn't do it the DIP way, in such a way that we are iterating in real time. People are seeing what we are doing. They're giving any type of feedback is good feedback, be it negative, be it positive. You're able to iterate upon it and see if you can improve your product or remove something that maybe is not useful to the end user. Yeah, and there's also this thing of, I think you've heard the saying that the cake is large, keki ni kubwa. So you might be wanting to develop an escrow-like platform like Kashlink. Don't fear that Kashlink is already in the market. You can come with a competitive edge. You'll have your own users. You'll have a piece of the market. So a lot of startups I've seen, they are afraid to, or rather founders are afraid to come up with ideas since it's already in the market, and maybe what you're iterating on, you have something that is unique to what the competition has in the market, and you'll only know it won't work until you try it out, until you put that product in the limelight and people see it and they can say, okay, we'll use your product, we won't use your product. The market is there for everyone, I believe. So yeah, building in public and building fast will allow you to either fail quickly as possible and iterate on your ideas, or the moment you start building, you'll find out, okay, I needed a partner in this sector of legal, I needed a partner in a bank, I needed a partner, like you'll be able to learn a lot of things when you're doing it in public and not like by yourself alone. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Let's hear from Enzo, and then I'll do the final remarks and everything.
There's just one point before Enzo takes over. Okay. This something that has been a challenge to us a lot is regulation. So if you're coming up in this space, you should have legal counsel. Be it if you're developing in e-commerce, in agriculture, just have people who know the law and can advise you on how to navigate issues. You would have saved a lot of time if initially, when we started about 4 months ago, if we had like the right people counseling us in terms of legal. Yes.
Okay, yes, thank you. Now we can hand it over to Enzo to give his lessons that he's learned, and what is one advice you can give to entrepreneurs out there.
Thank you for the opportunity. And for me, I think the biggest lesson I've learned is that when you're building a startup is something you cannot do alone. Just find your people, find the people you share common ideas. Be in a team, even if you don't know the person completely, just as much as you share a common idea, build with him, make him your friend or her. that's the biggest lesson I've learned, that teamwork, it works best when it comes to startups. Either you have a technical background, non-technical, as much as you have the idea and the right people to build with, I'm telling you, you'll go far and your idea can turn into something big. Also, another thing I've learned is that in a startup, it's not just the idea. Execution is the main part, is the real deal when it comes to building startups. Executing the idea. That is the main point. That is the main thing. Yeah. So those are the two things I've learned. And then what I can say is that if you joining DIP, you starting the boot camp, just take it serious. Whoever you meet there, just connect. You never know where you headed with the person. Just connect and give it your time, your attention. Don't take it just like another startup whereby you go, you take pictures, you post online so that people can see that you're into something. Like, just do that, but at least lock in with the idea. Like, do something and be keen. Any speaker that is coming there, just engage, share your ideas with him or her, ask him questions, experience, and above all, know why you joining that, not just for food, anything. And then if you are a student like us, startups is not just like you have to have money so that you can do a startup. It is just like share cost. Like, just build your idea. Someone else will see your idea and he will be like, this is a nice idea. He will invest in you. He'll tell you that let's build on this one. And above all, never think that you're doing this because you want money. As much as we all entrepreneurs, but just build knowing that you just want to solve a problem. That is the only way you can see the product growing big and bigger day and night. Yeah. And just give it all. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Enzo, for that. I think one final question just before we can go is remember at the beginning of the session, Marilyn asked what are some of the challenges we have faced. I believe we've answered that throughout the session. And also, what are some of the challenges we've also faced after we've already launched is probably customer acquisition, probably is talking to I'd say this because we're all university students. I think balancing between you have to be in class, you have to study for cards, you also need to go and market Kashlink, you need to go and speak to people. I think that's one of our key challenges that we have faced. And so for me, the key lesson that I've learned throughout this entire time, from the time I was in design innovation program until today, is that I need to push myself more in order to accommodate for the things that I want for Cashlink to excel and also for me as a person to excel. And also learning how to balance school, study, and also a life outside of the two of them. Those are one of the key lessons I've actually really gotten to learn. And one advice I'd give to young entrepreneurs is having a system that dictates how you're supposed to be moving in life. If you know this from this time from you want to study, you also need to work on Cashlink. You also need to go meet up with your friends. You also need to still there are other business prospects that you might be doing or even something else or even with your art or maybe over sport you're doing. Having a system that governs everything is really 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 key because without a system you're due to fail. And with that, I'll actually just give you guys DIP. There's one message. Let me see. Sorry. Yeah, follow us on our social platforms that use Cashlink across all social media platforms. And also, you can follow Design Innovation Program also across all social media platforms. And let me just quickly share the link to apply to the new to the new cohort that will be happening close to you, either that be USIU, KU, or JQuat, or if even if you're not in school, I believe you can still come and join from there. Let me just find it real quickly. The deadline actually surprisingly is on 2nd of May. So yes, you do have time to still apply to it. And just as Enzo has said, kindly take this as seriously as you could because it could be the life-changing moment that you require in order for you to succeed in life. And so with that, why is it not pasting? Sorry for that. Let me just copy the link. Okay, the link isn't copying, but I'm sure from where you got the link for the 2nd of May. Okay, I think I've been given the link. This is for people who are close to USIU. I've been just informed by Shalom. Okay, the link is kind of having an issue. Just a moment. But with that, maybe somebody, let me volunteer one person to tell me if we've met expectations for you during the webinar. I think I'll choose randomly James Brandon. No, not Jacob Brandon. Sorry. Hi, Jacob. Hi, Jacob.
Hi. Hi,
How are
Lynn.
you? How are you?
I'm good. I'm doing good.
Nice, nice. Okay, so can you give us insights, feedback from the time the webinar has been on? What have you learned? What's your key takeaway from home to home? Yeah. And also to everyone, the link has been pasted by Design Program on the group chat for this is for the USIU cohort. Yes.
I think I haven't been here for long since I've had internet issues. But what I've learned from the meeting is that about execution. I'm also running a startup. I'm friend to Carlos. I'm in JCOT second year. So I've just learned about the execution part of the startup journey. Yeah.
Thank you. Have you answered some of the questions that maybe you had anticipated?
Yeah, the questions that I've asked have been answered. All the
Nice.
questions
Thank you.
I've
Thank
asked
you.
have been answered.
Okay, let's hear from Gloria Wayua. Have you met your expectations and what's your feedback? Give me insights and what exactly it is you've learned from this webinar. Hi, Gloria. Okay, I think maybe Gloria is having maybe internet issues. Let me call Marilyn. Yes, tell us insights, feedback, and what it is you've learned exactly.
Um, yes, you've met my expectation, but mostly I would have loved to hear more about CTO work because when you're starting up a company and you have an idea, there's there is this issue that you need a web developer or something so that he or she can work on your idea so that you can project your idea. Can that CTO steal your idea or something? Or and then data protection, for example, the code. That code does it belong to the owner or to the developers? Yes. And how does CTO, when it comes to, how do you call this? Passwords management or looking in your, how do you call this? Your web or something. Yes. So basically, I would have loved to hear more of CTO's work. Yes.
Okay, okay. I don't know if Francis you can just give like a really brief, and then maybe we can talk maybe later. Consider I can see time is kind of running out for the webinar. or you can still stay in call and we can answer your questions one on one. Francis, maybe you can answer on I can answer the first bit of it is if you're hiring a developer, definitely have contracts. Have contracts. Contracts will define how you operate as a company, as a startup. Please define your contracts, have your papers on point. If it's NDAs, if it's contracts for everyone, so that you know how exactly am I supposed to operate, what are my fields of operating, what are my limits, what are my maximum. Yeah, so definitely have a contract defining all of that. And in matters IP, I think I'll leave that to Francis. Although IP definitely falls under law, which I would also advise you to get an IP lawyer to advise you more on. If your code is really, really unique in the sense of it's a unicorn, there is none like it, and it's your trademark of it, I'd advise you get a patent and IP lawyer. But maybe Francis, you can answer quickly just on that before we wrap up.
Okay. For code, you are not able to do IP on it since it's language, and what the lawyer said is you can't copyright like Kiswahili because language. So maybe you can like do a trade secret like how you've done the program and all, but you can't really do a patent or trademark or copyright on code, but you can keep it a secret internally. Yeah. About passwords, I think also that falls under the agreements you have with your developer. So if you have really solid agreements, NDAs, and contracts with your developer, in case anything arises, you can always go the litigation way.
Oh, and one final thing I think maybe I should also have mentioned this is kindly, as a startup, and if you're working in a team or if you're hiring people, please have your contracts written, signed. Everything needs to be. I think the first bit of operation we did with Kashlink was we had to draft up the different contracts on defining the roles that each one of us is doing, and from there on is where we get a baseline for even showing where our goals are and how we can meet our weekly targets and monthly targets. Yeah, I don't know if I've answered. If not, you can talk to me after. Yes. Is that a little bit satisfactory, Marilyn?
Yes, yes, thank you.
Okay, so how I believe the session for everyone was really well. I've really enjoyed talking to you guys, giving you just a gist of maybe what Cashlink is and how we majorly operate and how DIP as a starting point. You know, the way they say, without DIP, I don't think we would have met. Without DIP, I don't think there would have been a cash link. There wouldn't have been a team of us, and there wouldn't even been this webinar where we are speaking to each and every one of you. So really, hats off to DIP for hosting us. Thank you, DAP, for giving us this opportunity to come and talk about Cashlink and also just to come and give clarification on how DIP has helped us, which it's such a pivotal and such a vital moment for us because without DIP, as I said, without DIP, nothing. And DIP is, I'd say, from the link that has been shared, kindly just sign up to it. It's life changing, revolutionary. Yes. And so with that, I think I'll give this to Shalom so that she can officially maybe end the meeting. But for us, from my side, thank you for listening to us. Thank you for asking the questions. Thank you for being interactive. Thank you also just for showing up, for giving us this 1 hour of your time. We don't take it for granted. We really appreciate you guys and thank you. And for any more that will be there, we'll definitely share the links. And also remember that DIP has webinars every Thursday. And so I will be sharing more on that, on how we've reached you guys every Thursday from 6:30 p.m. until 7:30 p.m., which I've seen you actually gone past it. But the questions are a lot. You guys were asking us questions and it was super interactive. So thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. This I leave to Shalom.
Thank you so much, Lynn. Thank you so much, Kashlink. It was an honor to have you guys on today's session. A round of applause for Kashlink. It can be a virtual applause. Thank you so much. We are so proud of you, and it is an honor to see how far you've come. Yes, we were there in the beginning, but I would say it is your discipline and your commitment to your idea that has taken you this far. So you guys should be proud of yourselves. Thank you so much. And thank you all for joining us today. Make sure you follow them on their social media platforms. I know they are very active on IG. So yeah, you can reach out to them if you have, and Lynn has also shared an email. So if you have any question regarding what they're doing, you can always reach out to them through these platforms. And we have also shared a link regarding the bootcamp. The bootcamp is basically, you can apply it even if you're not in USIU. The deadline for May 2nd is the one that is happening in USIU. So you can basically use that link to apply for the bootcamp. It has different, it lists different organizations. So just choose the one that you're affiliated with. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you for your time. I think we can call it a night. We hope to see each one of you next week on Thursday, same time, 6:30, with a different but a very interesting topic. Good night. Thank you so much, Jacob. Thank you so much, Marilyn. Thank you so much, Dennis. Thank you so much, Vincent, Carlson, Stephanie, Violet. It was a pleasure to have you, and have a good night.
Good night. Thank you.